What is your name and what is the title of your project?
My name is Sarah Baughman, and the title of my project, sorry, it's going to take me a second. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to remember this. My name is Sarah Baughman, and the title of my project is A Community Science Analysis of River Mouths Along the Western Lake Michigan Shoreline. So a little bit of background information. I just recently returned to school. I'm a non-traditional student. I went to school right out of high school, got my associate's degree, and then I went and did a job for 10 years. And in October of last year, I went to the International Crane Foundation out in Baraboo, and that I had never been there before, and being in a place that was really focused on conservation and restoration, especially restoration, was just kind of, it's so inspiring to me. And so I left there. I was with my best friend, and I just said, I think I need to go back to school. And I've been a birder my whole life. My dad, my whole family birds. And so it kind of just, there was this really nice moment where I think suddenly I realized that I actually have a passion for something that it's driven. And so I applied for college that day. I was on vacation, and I went back to the hotel. I applied to Green Bay, and you know, within the week I got more information about it, and I couldn't wait to just get started. And so since then I have not stopped thinking about this new track in life. And so now with this project, I kind of, you know, was able to find out that there's this amazing community of folks interested in conservation and birds and wetlands and nature. And so there was this moment of, oh, well, you can do a survey. You can complete a survey of birds on the, you know, Lake Michigan shoreline, and Kingfisher Farm is actually very close to where I live. And so it just kind of made sense to focus around that location specifically. But there's kind of a deficit of information about shoreline habitats for birds and activity. You know, there's tons of people birding, but as I was kind of beginning to research, there's a gap in the research of what's happening on those shoreline habitats. And so that's really where this project started, was to fill that area as much as we could. And I think it's a great opportunity for me to learn more and connect with community members, and also to share my passion and my motivations behind why I decided to go down this route and kind of restart, you know, not my life, but restart where I'm going. So that's really what's behind the decisions to do this project. So I've been a baker for the last 10 years down in Sheboygan at this cafe. And
what did you make?
So I really specialize in vegan and gluten-free bakery.
Oh, wow.
I used to be vegan. I've been with around tons of vegan people, and I found that it was a really exciting and kind of super challenging, not kind of, it's super challenging way to bake. And then my boss was gluten-free, and I actually got the job by going to a party and making lemon bars. She's like, can you make something? And I made lemon bars, and that day she's like, do you want to be my baker? I was like, sure, sounds good. That was when I was 17, and so right when I was getting into college is when I got this job. And so then 10 years go by, I got my associates, but I really focused on this cool place that I got to work. And throughout that time there, that was really my passion, and my whole life really revolved around this space. And in the last couple of years, I kind of started, questioning, like, well, what do I want to do? I don't really want to do this forever. And so then I went to the Crane Foundation, had that epiphany moment. My best friend said, you know what, I support you 100%. You can do this. You should do this. And so, applied for school, got in. My first semester was in January. And I emailed someone asking about a marsh bird survey. And I had said, is there any volunteer opportunity with this? And they said, unfortunately, because of COVID, we've canceled it, but we really, I urge you to email Erin Giese and ask her about some volunteer opportunities. So I emailed Erin, and we scheduled a little meeting. And I think within the first 5 minutes, I had this moment of, okay, there are other people who are this interested in birds. And she had this moment of, oh, this person's very interested in birds. And so we shared this amazing enthusiasm and energy, and she, shared a bunch of contact information with me, and I think that day I signed up to start volunteering with the new Autobahn. And so I participate in some of the surveys that they do, and we're going to be doing some camp stuff this summer. And so that's where that started. And from there, it's just been just an amazing path of new opportunities. And I think in that moment, having someone who's so supportive, a total stranger, but someone who saw my enthusiasm, saw my interest, and was immediately so supportive of me. I mean, I can't explain how thankful I am for that, because I really needed that in that moment, because I was leaving the only thing that I knew, which was this 10-year career in a totally different field. And so to go back, taking the risk of going back to school, taking the risk of quitting my job, I needed that support, and I think I absolutely got that, you know, not only from my friends and family, but from this new organization, you know, especially with like the Cofrin Center and Erin specifically. Like, I've just found so much support and welcome. So that's really been the confidence that I've had to navigate this, is really rooted in that.
What was your first impression of Erin?
Oh my gosh. So my first impression of Erin, I was actually sitting in the kind of waiting lounge, and she said, you know, I'll be right with you. I have another meeting I'm doing. And so she came back into her room, and I'm so glad you asked this. I heard her doing bird calls, like bird imitation calls. And I was just immediately like, this is amazing. Who am I about to meet? This is so cool, because my whole life I've shared that kind of, I don't know what you would say, just like energy about birds with my family, my dad and his brothers. So like hearing a bird call and being able to imitate it in order to teach someone, oh, that bird is, you know, that's what this sounds like, you know, like the witchety, witchety, witchety kind of sound, or teacher, 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 like that's, those sounds like an oven bird, like I associate it with that. So then to hear this person doing that, I was immediately so excited to meet Erin. So that was my first impression.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, so my project focuses on river mouths and creek mouths along the Lake Michigan shoreline. My northernmost point is in Moonlight Bay up in Door County, and then the southernmost point is down in Kenosha. And so basically the goal is to gather data from, I believe we have 11 different creek mouth or river mouths that are either named or unnamed, and each site also has an accompanying secondary site that's 500 meters away from that river mouth. And the goal is to compare the bird behavior of, kind of bird presence, bird behavior of those different sites. We're looking at different characteristics of the surrounding area. We're looking at how the birds are using those sites. You know, what kind of like resources those sites offer for them. One of the interesting things that I've been noticing as I survey these sites and kind of as I've been scouting is the human presence seems to be kind of a factor with what birds are there. There's lots of dogs at the state park sites, and there are less, you know, humans at some of the more rural areas. So I'm very interested to see where that kind of those characteristics will go. And the method we're using is a 10-minute point count survey. So we're using eBird, which is a great tool for counting birds, identifying birds, and that's how we're tracking and gathering data. And then we'll be analyzing that later in the year after the survey has taken place.
Can you tell us about what eBird is?
Yeah, so eBird's an app that I believe has been developed by the Cornell University. So it's kind of like a community science app that uses data that's gathered by, you know, every individual uses the app. You can count birds, you can report where you are. It has like tracking technology so that you can see the map of the areas that you've been to. You identify birds, you know, just however you would identify them. You report them through the app, and then it's actually reviewed by a team, and they can tell you a little bit more insight if there's more interesting birds in a certain area. You know, if there's a rare bird that you find, they will ask for feedback on it. And the point is to gather data and kind of expand the gathering tools that we have, but it's used globally, so it's a really awesome tool, and I've found that it helps me a lot because there are birds that I think I know, and when I use my eBird app, or I use, you know, accompanying apps with it, it does teach you that you don't know birds as well as you think you do. And so I absolutely love it. And so to be able to use it and to teach others to use it and to share it, I think is a really wonderful, it's a wonderful opportunity for me. So I'm excited to be using it.
Is there a way for the community to be involved in your specific project, or ways the community can get involved in birding in general?
Yeah, so anyone in the community can actually, you know, access the app. You just need a phone. You can use it also online.
And this is eBird?
Yeah, this is eBird. So you just create an account on eBird, and then you can record your own birding data, and then it'll actually give you you'll be able to keep a list of all the birding data that you compile. And so if there are community members who are interested or have a background in birding and they just want to help, we are looking for people in locations along the shoreline that either maybe they have property that they bird on often, or they're near these sites and they would volunteer their time to go out, because technically we have 22 sites right now, and I can get to many of them, but there are a few that are hours away. You know, up in Door County, it's like a 200-mile drive round trip. And so if there's anyone who would be interested in helping, we would love to take that opportunity to engage and connect, because we're looking at it's every other week we're completing the surveys, and that's for the duration of the summer until I believe October 15th or so. And so that's, you know, lots of weeks to do bird surveys. And if there's anyone interested in any city, I mean, you can connect with me. I can share my information, my email. But if there's anyone who'd like to contribute to that, we can get you, some information on how to use eBird. And then if you already use it, great, we can share that. We can connect on eBird. But the goal that we kind of, in developing this project, the goal was really to connect community members with scientists or experts who have a background in birding, in order to share the information on a level that's accessible to anybody. Because eBird doesn't ask you to be a professional. eBird says whatever information you have is worth knowing, and so we're asking anyone who wants to contribute or has the energy to contribute to do so. And so we can just connect, on eBird. You can use usernames, you can use email, all that stuff. Yeah.
One last question for you. What is your favorite bird and/or bird call?
Oh, that's such a good question. Well, an oven bird is one of my favorites. They're just very cute, and they make a very interesting little nest. It looks like an oven. It's kind of a box, and they have that teacher, teacher, teacher call. Let's see. I feel like
you imitate it?
That's it. It literally just sounds like teacher, teacher, teacher. Like it's very distinct. When you hear it, you can't forget it. But I think my favorite bird really, I think it changes as I learn more about birds. I love ducks. I have like this just absolute, I think ducks are like one of the cutest creatures in the world. And so I think my favorite bird changes depending on what I'm looking at. What are they called? Ruddy turnstones are really cute. I think I have like an affinity for cute birds, but yeah, and I think so. I have this just deep appreciation for birds, but I think beyond that is my appreciation for wetland habitats. And so living in Wisconsin, going hiking, camping, all that stuff, I think I've just learned to love wetland habitats and really see the value of them. So birds just kind of come in tandem with that.